At the CII, speaking about the union budget is also Anish Shah, who's the president of FICCI, MD and CEO M&M, and Anant Goenka, who's the vice president of FICCI. Let's go across and take a look at what they had to say.
All right, so we're now joined by Dr. Anish Shah, President FICCI and Group CEO and MD Mahindra Group, and of course, Mr. Anant Goenka, Vice President FICCI and Vice Chairman RPG Enterprises. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us to discuss the presentation of today's budget further and the announcements that it has for overall the industry. Mr. Shah, let me come to you first. What is your first assessment of what the budget has presented? Have your demands been met? And of course, the Prime Minister, as he was stating just 2 days back about this budget will deliver on the path to Viksit Bharat 2047. Has that promise been delivered upon?
Very clearly it has. And this is a budget that we see as a budget that continues the agenda that has been set up. And the focus on capex, on infrastructure, roads, the focus on skilling and jobs, while maintaining fiscal discipline is very positive from an industry perspective, and it is really one that will help us on the path that has been outlined for Viksit Bharat.
Right. Mr. Goenka, let me also come to you and speak about the capex push. Now, we've seen the government really, push itself hard as far as giving a capex push to the country is concerned, especially post-COVID. And of course, there have been demands that it is now the private sector that really needs to put the step on the pedal to push investments further. What is your take on, the capex target being kept the same as the interim budget, however, it being 3.4% of the GDP?
Right. So the government has kept the capex at similar levels. And I think now the onus is on private industry to go ahead and do further investment. We have been doing continuous investment, but I think there is more opportunity, and it is now upon us to look at further investment on the private side.
Right, Mr. Shah, let me ask you about the jobs question, considering that, even before the elections, the big ask of voters was to get more jobs, to get more skilling done, and of course, to increase employability. We saw that play out during elections, like I'm stating, and of course, opposition parties have been attacking the government on that front as well. So, do you think with the initiatives that have been announced as far as job creation in the country is concerned, and of course, skilling is concerned, we have 1.48 lakh crore provision for education, employment and skilling, and 3 schemes for ELI. Will it incentivize corporates and companies like yourselves to deliver on that front, and will it improve the job scenario and employability situation in the country?
These are steps in the right direction, but there clearly has to be greater partnership from the private sector to be able to drive it, and it's all of it that comes together. Demand creation creates greater capacity utilization and therefore investments and more jobs. So all of these have to be looked at in one basket rather than individually. But the focus on skilling in particular is a very welcome focus, because that is much needed, and that will provide a stimulus as well for companies to be able to go out and get more skilled labor and thereby be able to meet what they need to meet on the manufacturing side.
Right. And Mr. Goenka, what do you think on the jobs announcements that have been made today, that have come in today? And of course, seems like government has, paid heed to what the voters really were asking. Do you think these incentives will help increase skilling in a country, and especially in a country that is going big on new technology, big tech as well, like semiconductors, chip manufacturing as well, which are highly skill intensive sectors?
Yes, I think skilling has been a gap in the country. We've had a large number of people who we've needed in industry who are not fully equipped in terms of capability. We've had to skill them in-house, whereas there has been unemployment on the other side. So the ability of the government to connect the education, skilling and employability, which the government has currently focused on, is absolutely very important. Also, an incentive for people who are moving from the unemployed or first-time job seekers will hopefully drive improvement as well. And as my colleague Anish shared about the entire linkage from the entire demand creation to recruitment and then job creation, all becomes very important together.
Right, and let me now speak to you, Mr. Shah, about boosting private consumption as well, and especially as far as the rural sector is concerned, considering if we see the sales of FMCG companies, of course, automobile segment as well, those have been lacking, and the main reason has been that that rural sales, that rural consumption has not really picked up as much as urban consumption really has on account of inflation, on account of several other headwinds. Do you think with the announcements that have been made with respect to boosting the agri sector, they will really help in reviving rural consumption? And what are the risks that you really see with respect to boosting consumption in rural areas?
So we feel that these are the right set of measures because they're also more focused on the medium and long term in terms of value creation within the agri sector. It's a delicate balance for any government to have in terms of short-term stimulus measures versus medium or long-term. The multiplier is much higher on medium and longer-term measures, and therefore we feel that this is the right path to take.
One final question, Mr. Goenka, before we let the two of you leave. Just wanted to get your thoughts on, the government having maintained fiscal prudence as far as this budget is concerned. Of course, there is a growth budget. This is a budget that is centered around growth and, of course, inclusion as well. But as far as fiscal deficit is concerned, government's been able to maintain its target. But do you think really on the trajectory that the economy currently is on, we'll be able to reduce that even further?
Yes, I think the government has delivered on its commitment of fiscal discipline. So they ended at 5.1, now 4.9. So I think they have been continuously showing that discipline. And as we've seen, it's been the 7th year of the finance minister in delivering the budget. So year on year, the views have been long term, and most of the commitments have been delivered, particularly that of fiscal discipline post-COVID. So I do feel confident that over time there will be delivery, and also you've had the RBI dividend that has come in. So I think if they have chalked out a path over time from 4.9 to 4.5, etc., I think that will be delivered.
All right. On that note, thank you very much, Mr. Shah and Mr. Goenka, for joining us here on ET Now and sharing your thoughts on the trajectory for growth of India ahead, and what do you make of this budget really. And one important takeaway also has been the stability of the government, the continuity of its policies. Stability, why? Because the opposition has been attacking the BJP, the NDA, on the fact that it is a coalition-led government and, of course, not really stable. But having assuaged both the partners, having heard the needs of Bihar and, of course, Andhra Pradesh, this seems like there is enough stability in the government as well. On that note, thank you very much once again, gentlemen, for joining us here on ET Now.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.